The other side of things, I think we're seeing the normal comp, the no duelist comp coming out from Liquid that we've come to know and love, looking to try and choke them out of this game. But yeah, both. What, is this an identical one to the last map? I think it might be maybe slightly different.
For Vikings, yeah. The fact that we've got FRZ on the Jet again, we've got GTN coming in on Yoru. This means that once more, we're going to see the swap up and the moving away from Phoenix and Raze. And then obviously a little bit of a switch up just in the Sentinels of having saadhak coming in with a Cypher play. And the different interpretations there, Vikings take a Cypher, whereas you've got a Killjoy on the other side for Liquid. Both are perfectly viable. I'm interested to see how this one plays out. That's for damn sure. Viper always going to win my vote, so I'm swinging with Team Liquid. But their history in Masters has not been great, Tom, because they talk about, hey, they wrecked Oxygen. They did so well versus FPX, beating them here. 13-3, they lost to Fnatic. 13-4 to version 1. This has been tough for them in Masters.
Yeah, I want to give them maybe a little bit of a break on the version 1 game, because I feel like when it got to map 3, they looked out of it. Like the other 2 maps, I think that it was just very close, well contested, but they were getting absolutely destroyed by the lurks of Zelsis. They were really struggling with all of the afterplant utility. And I'll be honest with you, Mitch, I don't think that's what Vikings are really known for, those afterplant setups. In fact, they don't even have a Viper, as you said, so how could they even pull them off?
They don't have a Viper. They're not playing with the Brimstone, so they don't have the Molly to come in. You know, this is something that you have to listen to the interview Vikings did, right? They said, hey, we're just going to stick with the Brazilian style. And they just don't have enough time to innovate their comp.
Is Yoru the Brazilian style? Is that...
Well, true. They did lie to us a little bit there. I'll be honest. Like, they got rid of the Rays and the Phoenix, so I don't know how much Brazilian is left in them at this point. But I'm loving whatever it is coming out of them right now. They've got to innovate. They've got to keep opponents on their toes. And I'll tell you who's on their tippy toes, jumping back towards the site. It was soulcas. But as they get that pressure on C long, they want to go through garage. That's where sutecas just gets slapped. And now the A site's where they're looking to take it.
Through the legs of the turret. It doesn't get much unluckier than that, but now we're going to see the push, the dash, straight in towards the back of the site. It is that 1v1 that ends in Link's favor, but the trades not going too badly. The problem now, though, is the time. 12 seconds to try and get that plant in, and the second it begins, we're going to see the push start going back in towards the site. Already Kryptix shutting down one. It's left onto Sacy. He needs to find all 3. And Jamppi, well, it's not quite the 4K of the last pistol round, but you know what? I think 3 will do this time.
Whew. We got back-to-back Yoru picks. I think that's a first for EU. It is for sure. I have to take a little dive into how that one's gone down. But you know what, Tom? One thing I want to quickly talk about, this will be the last point of kind of Yoru being unique for these guys that we really hit on, I think.
You love it, don't you? You've never got to do it before.
Literally never. Like, all the games I was working on, never a Yoru, because we got like, it happened twice in EU, I think, since he's been released.
Both on this map.
Both on this map, but that's exactly it, right? If you're going to do it on Ascent, I expect you to do it on Haven. I don't know what benefits on Ascent you don't also see here on Haven, and to a more concentrated extent. So it's not immensely surprising, but considering how it went down last time, I mean, look, your Jet in here as well, it's mixing me up. It's making me excited for what Vikings have planned. And what's also making me excited, Tom, is the fact that they got some big boy weapons in their hands. This isn't an eco. This isn't Vikings rolling over and saying, all right, take the 2-0 Liquid. They are here to fight for round number 2.
I like it. Keep them on their toes. They're already going to clear out the majority of that extra utility. Now, we know the way that Draken was playing it was to try and get those sneaky rotations into the back of the A site. They even tried to combine it with the divides coming out from Astra as well to sneak their way into the back of sites. Well, they've destroyed it. So there's not going to be any gate crashing into the back of the site. Instead, they're just going to have to walk in like a normal person.
Clearly you don't know Vikings. Let's see how their interpretation is. Oh, look at that, the barrel. I don't think it was spotted on our screen. It seems so obvious, but on theirs, not so much. FRZ able to drop one, but immediately after, bodies start hitting the floor for Vikings. They answer back, they get the sight and a plant, but look at the HP. Less than half, no armor as well on any of these players for Vikings. The drop out of heaven from Scream could be huge. The flash is there. The drop right after. There's the first. But soulcas falls. Scream in with more. He knows that sutecas is towards short. Exactly where is unknown. He clears out now. Focus, hyper focused on this position. He could be tucked in the close left corner, but down on the short itself, the step is heard. But sutecas actually wins that. Just 50 HP, but he walks out with the victory. 1-1. Vikings force buy goes their way.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, once Scream got the other couple of kills, I thought it was in the bag. Like, he had the HP advantage, seemed to have a very good idea of where his opponent was going to be. But sutecas again, like, the one thing I will take from the last map that I think definitely was working from them was the addition of Astra. I think it's just an agent at the moment that you really can't afford not to be playing at all. Liquid are one of the only teams that I think really don't bring that agent in whatsoever. And a lot of the teams that we've seen with some real strength, with some backbone to their roster, like V1, for example, have really been playing this agent a lot. So it's a way in, for sure. Now, on the other side of things, there is going to be some investment here. Scream, the headshot machine. Well, the headshot here will do.
I have to say, Tom, at this point, if you're Vikings, you're feeling pretty good about yourself bouncing back. You're starting to put that other map behind you, but you can't allow these pistols to come in and dominate you. This has to be a relatively clean one because they're still not set up great for the next buy round. And right now, it was looking to be before Scream came in with a quick shot to saadhak, putting it back into a 4v4. 50 seconds on the clock. Spike to be planted, and a retake with these kind of weapons is never going to be ideal. But it's all about damage here. Getting 2 to 3 kills is the objective for Liquid, and it's still very much plausible.
Yeah, the only issue I have is that the weaponry they currently have is just not going to give them any angles to get back into the site. You don't have anyone who can just jump around the corner with an SMG, or maybe a judge, as we've seen many a time. Scream still making it costly, and more importantly for him, this has now earned him his res. One of the most powerful ultimates we have in this game, dropping a lot of weaponry while he does it. Now, saving this into the next round, however, probably not going to be worth it. So I imagine just not trying to give that over to his opponent. May even want to just die to the spike.
Yeah, that's it. You see him there. He looks for a weapon so he can escape away, but then realizes the best I've got is the Spectre. It's not worth it. Into the spike you go. And the logic of this, for anyone at home, because I think this is the first time we're seeing this in the series we've cast on, but obviously it's happened in the other games, is that if you survive the round, you don't get as much money. You're 1k down. And when you're saving a Spectre, that's not really worth it. You would much rather have your Vandal coming into the next round. The 2-1, we come into this. Vikings, again, I said they're not very well set up for this first buy round, but now they've had to invest a lot because they lost so many weapons to Scream. And so they've got a pretty decent full buy, but investing a lot of their economy into it.
Who's next?
Now they do already have the dimensional drift. So good for information, so good for making battles very, very awkward, but he's going to have to come out of it fairly soon, and actually just sticks it and TPs right back out of the site. The problem is that distraction didn't exactly go fantastically well. It's ended with a 2-for-2 trade, the re-entry coming out from Sacy, giving them that man advantage. And by the looks of it, Jamppi already set up to try and get that retake started.
Oh yeah, he is. There goes the lockdown. And they actually delayed the plants a little bit. It looks like they're going to completely avoid it now because the time is so low. They're running back. They're starting to move. And maybe not even looking for the C side anymore. A sneaky little orb taken by Sacy, realizing he had just about enough time. And that delay, as the players wait to push in when the ult pops, grants Vikings a free A site. That's such a smart rotate.
It's going to set them up with an afterplant on A. Normally, they'd happily leave Link behind, but hey, if you completely surrender the C site, you don't really expect your opponent just to leave and go and plant on the other side of the map. A mid-round call coming out from the Vikings, but it is still going to be a retake advantage. I'm just looking at that gate crash, though. Does GTN decide to use it and get in behind?
No, it's gone. It's been heard on the way through. There's the flash pop to allow a little bit of aggression, but they don't get the kill that they want off this Liquid, still with the man advantage. Happy to just trade out one after another. That's not quite a trade there, Link, but he drops down feeling the confidence and catches the headshot, allowing the defuse to come on through. That will be 2-2. Liquid tying it up here. Not letting it run too far away for Vikings. And we said the Vikings invested a lot. I think they still have cash to invest into this if they want to. They could probably go for a buy, but that one definitely hurts.
I really like the idea though with the dimensional drift and the gate crash combination. Like basically just using him purely as a distraction, like blocking any of his opponents from actually shooting at teammates and then having them peek in to actually try and get the trades. The problem is they lose some of the other jewels and that just makes things a little bit more awkward for them. And also because so many players died to Scream, he had the res and that gave them that 4v3.
Oh, the recon in actually is blocked by a beam up above, allowing soulcas to get himself 1 kill right off the bat. That's a small oversight in the lineup that leaves, well, an opening duel towards Liquid at very, very low cost, with it being the judge. Not how you want the round to start out.
Now, Saadhak, I think the reason we see him actually switch up the agent here is because they love to try and use those cypher cams more for information play, like just to try and get them in. As you can see here, trying to spar anybody within the pit. Aggression from Scream actually doesn't go his way. Now, considering the weaponry that's involved for Vikings in this round, a free rifle, they'll take that all day long.
Oh, the ulti to delay right after. Oh, that's so good. So they don't have positions. Now they're able to push out. You're going to see Kryptix on the site. Link able to grab himself 1. Kryptix barely makes it away. He was tagged up by that drone. Made it around the corner before they could do a lot of damage. The rotates, they love it, man. They love their fakes, but this time Team Liquid are wise to it. With soulcas having a judge, he's not as willing to give up this position, and the spike is going alone through garage. Why is the spike going alone through garage? Well, okay, they've thrown that round away very, very quickly. Any hope they had, and they actually would have had the C site, just boom, it's gone.
Yeah, this is starting to get painful because this has happened a few times now. We saw it again on Ascent where they actually rotate into Jamppi, where he's just waiting for them to go for these plays. As said, it feels like Liquid have done their research on these sort of late round 30, 40 second rotations that come in from Vikings. And the way that Vikings were running through there, it was almost as if like, well, there's a 0% chance anybody could have just stayed behind. And considering they've already been caught by that in the previous map, that's a little bit disappointing.
I'm always perplexed when these things happen. Maybe it's see, when there's players alive as well, I can't say like you didn't notice you had the spike because someone's calling that, right? But at the same time, I'm never gonna like, because your teammates are gonna go, oh dude, you got the spike. Maybe they felt like the time was such a heavy pressure that they just wanted to get straight there. It's a little bit of a quicker rotation.
Okay.
Sacy's managed to pick soulcas off. That's actually huge because that splits off the C site completely. You have one player who's pretty much committed to holding B at the moment. And look at the rotation they make afterwards. Kryptix leaves the C site, comes over to support B. There is now a huge gap in this Liquid defense, but Vikings don't know that, and it's hard to get that information for free.
Well, after what has been somewhat of an abandonment of the C site quite regularly for Liquid, we saw them have the garage control in the last round. It seems like Vikings are going to take that gamble. There will be no one here, so if Liquid are going to want to play for this, they'll have to go for a full retake on the site. And bear in mind, this time there's no ultimates. They don't have the orbital strike to clear some of the angles. They don't have the seekers. Well, the player who has seekers isn't even alive, so they definitely don't have that. And there's no res to give them an even keel in this round, so going to almost take a mistake, I feel, from Vikings to give them a chance back into this one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. This is Vikings round on lockdown. There's another kill to pretty much secure it. At this point, I think Liquid are probably starting to think about exiting and bringing these weapons through to the next round. And you can see the very quick body language moving towards the B site. They're out. They don't want to compete for this anymore. Sacy hears it, though. That information fed to his teammates very, very quickly. If you listen to how quickly the spike is ticking, I think they've got time to wrap into this site and do some damage. Certainly Sacy does. He wasn't expected to be that close, but thanks to the Phantom, even jumping up on the box didn't cost Jamppi his life. That did, though. Not quite looking the right way. Gotta look both ways when you cross.
Yeah, Vikings punishing. At least dropping one gun. We'll see if there's actually enough finances for Liquid to still get a purchase into this round. They've done reasonably well with some of the rounds to at least earn a few extra little pieces of cash here and there. For now, though, a very even game. And the thing is, although there's been a slip-up here and there from Vikings, they just seem so good at getting themselves right back onto the horse. And I definitely think there's going to be a battle of sort of like, well, I want to say the in-game leaders here, because saadhak, again, in this round, the read was nigh on perfect. Get the opening pick, rotate back over to that C site, and because it's been negated now a few times by Liquid, absolutely no one there.
This is where the larger game starts to take a role. We're into another buy round. soulcas still on that weak weapon, right? He's got the judge in hand. Are they going to expect it? Yes, but they run right into it still. The spacing not there for the trade. Another caught off guard towards a long. This is a disaster. Vikings putting their economy on the line to try and take the lead out of Liquid's hands. And yet the Horsies are taking the lead by the looks of it. If this round keeps playing out, Link tucked up close. This could be more than one even. He catches sutecas. He didn't even know he was there. In an attempt to pursue saadhak, he finishes off beautifully with a headshot. That's a disaster for Vikings. A round where they only really take one aim duel, it feels like, and that's this for FRZ, which is quickly quenched. Oh my God. There's almost no worse round to lose.
My Phantom does not work like that. It just one tap headshot him through the wall. Like, what is it? The worst thing is as well is his teammate takes the bullet for him first, and they're like, okay, he sacrificed himself for the in-game leader, and then this happens. That's just disgusting round. But yeah, the only quarrel I have with you about that round is the fact that you called the judge a weak weapon, whereas I don't know how you kill him in that corner with that gun. You basically have to spam him through the door before you get there.
Cheaper weapon is what I should have said.
Cheaper, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, technically, it is a lower tier of weapon than the Phantom and Vandal. In reality, it's maybe a higher tier of weapon. For the cost as well, like, you can keep your economy so healthy by having one guy playing that. It means even if he dies, next round he could probably drop you, as well as playing that judge, depending on how deep into the game you are. 4-3, opening shot not going to be connected. Jamppi, this is something that blew my mind when it came to EMEA, into challengers, when Jamppi started playing the Killjoy. But you'll notice, he still plays it like it's a jet. He'll go for a lot of duels, at least in the EMEA challengers he was, where he's like going down mid and looking for those fights. I've seen here in Masters a little bit more respect there, a little bit of slower play from him. It looks like they've started to teach him discipline on top of that raw skill he's got.
Interesting. This was looking like more of a retake setup, but soulcas wanting to try and get back into the site. He's got the pop flashes.
Oh,
the orbital strike combined with it as well. They don't stand a chance. That is beautiful from Liquid. The flash couldn't have been better from soulcas. This is the agent we want to see him playing. But the timing of that strike, no chance for Vikings. 2 players left, 25 seconds. Spike down, Mitch. How do you get out of this one?
You don't get out of this one, Tom. This is done and dusted. Surely a 5 versus 2. If you had 2 judges, you're good. But no, oh man, 15 seconds. It's all about how much damage they can do, really, and possibly saving the weapon, but no, not even in question. A flawless round coming out from Team Liquid, and their economy now put in a prime position by the Prime Gaming flawless round. I'm blown away, really, by those last 2 rounds. Like, those are the ones that just drain you. Look at the flash that came in. They don't even know that they're in the ultimate, plus they're slowed.
I love it. Like, these are the sort of things you get from Liquid, where you know that this is something that they've been sat there with that big screen, they've been sat back in the chairs, and Sliggy's been going, right, so you do this, and then you put this down, and then this combined, and then they all die. And everybody's just nodding along and smiling and going, yes, we will do this now. And, like, there's nothing the Vikings players could do there. Like, every piece of utility used in that round by Liquid was on point. I'm sure the desk is already sat there going, like, we're going to break that round down. Because it's just the perfect round from Liquid.
I'm with you, Tom, 100%. This round here, well, it's probably not going to be a perfect round from Vikings, considering what they're dealing with, and that is just nasty, man. Put out the Trailblazer, bite him, give him a little bit of a stun, then swing in for the kill. And it's like the fact that you coordinate that with Scream as well, right? Because soulcas is the one using the utility. It's almost like an extra flash in a way when it's jumping in their face and stunning them like that. Liquid looking to just double down on that economic advantage that they already have. And for Vikings, I do like that they're taking this round super slow. Obviously, the fights that they've taken didn't really work out for them. The one in window and then in towards the garage. But too many teams just throw these rounds away, right? When you're on those
Yeah.
weaker weapons, you know? They'll just barrel in for faster strategy, and it can work, but Vikings are showing that extra depth from what we saw on the previous map of slowing it down to look for those picks, as unsuccessful as it is.
Well, they now got 15 seconds, so unless they're planning on winning this one in a very short amount of time, unfortunately, the only thing they can really hope to do is die, because you don't want to just have some poorer weaponry saved. They actually managed to turn this into a doable position, though. Spike going to be planted, a 2 versus 3. They've retrieved a Phantom as well, and the operator from Jamppi needs to connect, and well, before I can even finish the sentence, he's landed the shot. It's left on to Sacy. He needs to put that board power to use as he looks to rotate in from behind. Neither player realizing he's there, although Link has turned around, and the read again. It may not necessarily have been the clutch against him this time, but he always seems to just have the perfect placement for those sort of moments.
Yeah, considering we ended up in, what, a 1 versus 2, which, okay, the time wasn't very low, but with a good flank, the timing almost came through to win out the round. You have to say that there's a pretty damn good recovery, because we were calling for it. Hey, yeah, maybe if they get like a kill or two, that'll be good from this position. Like, they're out of time. If they just die, that's their objective. And instead, they get 3 kills and a spike plant. You'll take that one to the bank. 6-3 nonetheless, though. And now it's the buy round. Now it's, again, time for Vikings to show up because their credits are on the line. They've got nothing to play with after this round, whereas Liquid, they are rolling in credits.
Oh, this is fast. They're doing the same again. This is the dimensional drift straight in. It's going to almost be that distraction play. Now, he could just opt to try and stick this one and almost fight him, and that's exactly what he does! Kryptix is expecting the TP away, and instead GTN goes, you know what, I'm just going to fight you. Now, they've lost a player on the rotation, but they have got the sight now, Mitch.
Even sprayed down his own teammate as well. Wants the extra damage. But yeah, that's a very good entry. And the ulti, well, it's not gone well afterwards, has it? TPing back, trying to get the flank, and sometimes you can look for too much impact in a round. That's what we just saw happen there. saadhak not going to be blinded. The timing is good on that swing as he catches soulcas off guard. Another trade in for Vikings to put them back into the 2v2. Time is on their side, but the man advantages are no more. And Sacy has been spotted down towards long. The Hunter's Fury activated, but they're still going to get it halfway. There it is, firing in for a little bit more, but he needs the kill, and it's being watched. Oh, but he got it, and the time is too low. He's actually won the round. What?
It's gonna count as a Red Bull clutch. I feel like the spike might have done the majority of the work there, but Vikings get it over the line. You sort of talked about the economy, though, and I feel like that might have to come through at the end.
How? He hit that shot so quickly. I felt like the millisecond he peeked, he died. I hope we have that slow-mo from his perspective. See, exactly the same. You're like, oh, we got what? Wow.
Oh. Yeah, the problem now, though, as said, economy on the brink for Vikings. They might be looking at another 8-4 half if they don't manage to win this round. And we have to put this into context now, Mitch. They lose this map, they are out of the tournament. They are the last hope for their region within this tournament as well. You could put the whole of South America in that bracket after Crew fell. On the other hand, we've seen Fnatic already make it through for the EMEA region. The Vikings are looking to try and cling on already. Looking at that deep hold into middle. A bit of a challenge potentially coming in a moment with Scream still waiting around that angle. And they're now going to go hunting for info.
Oh, they'll get a little bit, but there is a second player here to support Link, getting his time to shine on this B-side defense, and he's being spotted and taken down real quick, but that's the spike. Luckily, the trade is there immediately. Vikings realizing that they've left the president back there, and they've got to go protect him. Now, left out, locked out of this B-site, Team Liquid try to go back in and find some space, but FRZ backside just too strong, leaving Jamppi alone. He has a lockdown, but unlikely to use it. Even going to the Sheriff in case he gets double peeked on. This is going to be a tough one to get into because there's 2 players. We've seen him do this with the no-scopes before, but the trade is immediately there from Sacy. 6-5. Vikings are keeping this half real close. They might just be able to equalize coming into the last round of the half.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Like winning the bonus round or winning the force buy round, I guess, in the second of the half, and then converting the next, and then some very, very close rounds has made this one down to a 6-5. It doesn't necessarily feel that way, but I don't think Vikings are going to care. If they can even this one up as a half, especially when you consider that a lot of the time with Liquid, this sort of comp allows them to delay a hell of a lot on the defense. It's not really meant for the attack in a lot of ways. Like you see Jamppi having to do an awful lot with opening picks, just like we've seen in this round.
Oh, up and over we go. FRZ looking to style on them. Jamppi's the one to pick up the kill, though. Normally the Jet on the other side of it, but he's making it work. An operator coming in to clear out garage and hoping he finds another victim. All three players outside of it right now. But the B side is going to be where Vikings look to take it. They've already suffered heavy casualties in this final round. It's time to throw themselves at it. Everything they've got. There's a res, lockdown, orbital strike. So much to work with, and Scream only gets the one from that. It looked like so much more. FRZ shut down to close this out, 7-5. Team Liquid take the lead to close things out, and they didn't even need to use any of their ultis to make that happen.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it could have been more, especially the way that some of the rounds went, but some decent reads from Vikings, the rotations into the C site a couple of times, and some millisecond clutches. Gonna give them 5, and going into the defensive half, it's not bad for them. My only worry is that they are a team that likes to be that little bit more aggressive. They like to try and take map control. You see some of the players normally sat on the Rays and the Phoenix, for example, looking to try and really pressure all the sort of, well, I guess the sides of the map, like taking C long, battling for A long as well. The extremities, that's the word I was looking for. But for now, that's almost what Liquid want. Like, they are a team that has this normally fairly defensive operator at waiting for players to peak. And even just a pistol round for Liquid could be enough to lead them towards closing this series and continuing in that lower bracket.
Oh, great info on the jump from the Wolf in the end. It spots out both players in towards the back, but the duels just don't seem to be going Liquid's way until soulcas somehow sneaks up beside them. Kryptix with the trade to put it all onto sutecas. Pushed out by that snake bite. He was just on the edge of the smoke. He thought that was his timing to move, but no. 8-5 we go. And Liquid, they just seem to be untouchable when it comes to pistol rounds, Tom. They're doing so well.
Yeah, they don't seem that they are that way. They haven't lost the pistol so far in this series. They did lose the second round, though. The only issue I have with that is I don't think they're going to force on the defensive side. It's nowhere near as common as what we see on the attack, especially without a plant.
They've lost 2 pistols in Masters so far. I just went and checked. 2 pistol rounds out of close to 10. I think
why'd you do that to yourself?
I wasn't sure how many maps there were, but like that's pretty insane. The impact that pistol rounds have when it's MR12 is massive. Like, when we talk about it in CS as being an important thing, but MR12, it's even more. Although I do feel like in Valorant, you kind of get on your feet in the 3rd round, whereas sometimes in CS, it's like round 4, kind of you can get like a 3-0 lead. Later. So it's not as inflated there, let's say. But we've seen it many times with the ultimates. There's so many different factors in Valorant. And I just think that those pistols are invaluable, and Liquid connecting so many of them, such a high percentage, like 80% or so, is crazy. Now, it's about the second round. And where we saw Vikings force by round number 2 of the previous half, they're not going to do it here on the defense. Instead, playing with Sheriffs, playing with a Shorty and a Classic, see what they can make happen in terms of damage, and look to come into the next round and take that W at 9-5.
Liquid taking this slow. Now, it does give extra time for information to be found for Vikings, but they're actually playing this as a relatively standard round, and unfortunately, it seems like they've got the wrong read. 3 players now stacking up outside garage, pushing even further into C. It leaves a lot of the pressure onto FRZ here to try and do something, and instead it's left Liquid with a perfectly clear site. Now, normally I might have some sort of belief that there might be a chance in this retake, but with all the afterplant utility that's there for Liquid and how weak all the weaponry that is currently available for Vikings, it's probably not going to happen.
We'll see. We'll see. You know, you never know with the Sheriffs in play. I want to believe. I want to believe in at least a couple of kills, and that's the benchmark for Vikings right now. Sadly not working on the flank, sadly not working on the front play, but they can still slow it down because they've got exits covered, right? They're happy to die to the spike in the end. It makes no difference to them, right? Yeah, one ult torp here or there, but your opponents get them as well. Sacy falls, and there it is. GTN, as I said, he had that exit covered. He pushed up behind. Now he's gotten himself a frag, gotten himself a Spectre, and 3 players from Team Liquid died. Now, GTN meant to die to the Spectre in the end, but those 3 guys from Liquid, they did not want to fall. They wanted to keep their weapons. That means 1 player survives.
Yeah, that definitely was not part of the plan for anybody wondering, but it's similarly to what we saw in the last half, though. Like, all this really means is now Liquid are not going to have that extra bonus cash that they would do if they were to win this round. And if they're to lose this round, they won't have a repurchase. However, they are still going to buy into this round now with some extra rifles available to them. So it almost makes this one slightly tougher for Vikings to win, but the reward if they do win it is that much more.
Oh, exactly. It's all about connecting those dominoes, right? You got to look at the bigger picture. And when you're making that comeback, if you're Team Vikings right now, this is invaluable. The amount of damage they did in the previous round. Let's see how it plays out for them here. The problem, and I think something they're going to feel, not being on that attacking side. They don't control the pace here. They don't get to decide how this map plays out. I'm curious to see their Yoru, how they're going to use it coming into these buy rounds. Currently just seems to be a placeholder. But obviously those flashes can be very strong if you're playing into retakes, if you're playing through some of these walls. I want to see it. And obviously, and rotates as well. I mean, this map is one of the hardest ones to rotate on. Look at the amount of space there is. And there you go. The TP is going to be put down and spawn.
Leaving the turret behind, looking like a full execution on B, but it's not. It is a fake. It's a ruse. It's trying to pull players over. And they're now going to know there's only 1 player currently within this C site. Right at the back of it, saadhak just trying his best to survive. Jamppi, he's got a perfect lurk position as well. Already cutting off one of the rotations. saadhak, though, he's doing a damn good job. Somehow he's still surviving at the back of the site, and his teammate even comes in to help. But the trades come in thick and fast, leaving it into a 2v2. Spike will be planted, but there is still a chance for the Vikings.
Oh, there absolutely is. They could be sailing through with a victory right here. That snakebite going to slow down the plans, though. Bit of a wrench in the works. And as Team Liquid, both players on the site. Orb goes up. Oh, man. I mean, this is a worst-case scenario, really. All that Viper utility there holding you back. They're going to put the TP through. That will have been heard by Kryptix, though. They'll be ready for it. A flash you would expect to come on in, but they don't have one to play with. They've got to just go in for the peaks on this, and Kryptix takes them out. That is nasty. And I guess GTM probably put that down to bait out a player into shooting it, right? And get the information on where they were. When no one shoots it, he thinks, hey, maybe we can just, like, walk on through? And instead, they're walking to the death.
Yeah, really well played in the end by Liquid. I think the fake initially, it didn't really do too much. In fact, I think it actually pulled more players from A into B. But it was more just the fact that saadhak did end up alone. And he did a pretty good job, to be fair. He stayed alive a lot longer than I expected him to.
It did pull a player towards the B site, sure, but it also got Yoru to take his teleport into spawn and rotate to A side of B. That was where they wanted to mount the retake from. So it ended up actually stopping him from being able to, because he was playing outside garage, to be able to support the C side instantly. That could have been Jet and Yoru there to actually stop them, and maybe things would have went their way. So I think the fake was actually pretty huge for them right there. This round is irrelevant, in case people are wondering, you know, oh, but they just got kills. We're not talking about it. They got pistols. Again, we set these expectations time and time again. But when you're this deep into the half, 2 or 3 kills, it's going to do nothing for you. Oh, no!
Oh, how could you?
That's just rude, man. That's just so rude.
How dare you, Jamppi? We were having a nice, clean game, and you've decided to do that. And for anybody wondering, there is literally no benefit to knifing people other than BM. That's it. That's all we get. Just a little bit of spice thrown in by the Finn. And well, I'm sure the team are at least having a little bit of a giggle about that one. The thing is, though, well, we're getting a tactical pause from Vikings. I'm not surprised. They are 2 rounds away from elimination. As said, being the only remaining team
Oh,
from South America.
show it again,
This
really?
was for the Prime Gaming Flawless as well, so we get a slow motion replay, as if it wasn't bad enough. I can tell you now, the Prius has a big smile on his face while he replays it. I can tell you,
of course
he
he does.
enjoyed that.
He was the one, as soon as that happened, Prius was like, can we get a replay? Let's go 0.1 speed, okay? 0.1 speed. Yeah, on the knife. Yeah, yeah.
We all know Sapphire's the nice one. We all know that.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not Prius, I'll tell you that. But no, 11-5, what a way to get there, man. I mean, we're saying the round is irrelevant, but I feel like when you pull out that knife, it takes on some meaning. It's like, because as you said, Tom, there's no benefit to going for that. If that guy 180s on you, and I mean, look, of all the people to go for that kind of play, Liquid, after the game we saw from them, after soulcas, you know?
Hey, I've heard a rumor that soulcas was having a lot of spikes in that game, and that's why.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure, yeah. Oh, ping spikes on LAN. I know what you mean, bro.
His ping was like 5,000. You know?
They gave him like
LAN ping.
They gave him like 1,000-meter Ethernet cable, so he's just like one millisecond off. Ah, couldn't hit it. No, but that was hilarious the other day. For those of you that didn't see it, soulcas got 180'd on when he was basically like massaging the back of the player that he was trying to flank on. So I'm kind of surprised seeing them go for that.
He wasn't going for a knife.
He wasn't. He wasn't. In all fairness, it was the most unlucky thing I've ever seen.
He deserved to be shot at 180, but you know, that's how the world works. Some people deserve to be punished, and it's never the ones who get it.
Yep. soulcas got hit by Jamppi's karma, and vice versa. But 11-5 we go. We had a little bit of a tactical timeout, and I think Vikings are going to be the ones that are gaining the most value from that, let's say. Obviously, both teams and the ability to chill out and recover from what was an exciting scenario. But now the most important part begins. Vikings have to mount a huge comeback. They are down by a map and losing this one even just 2 rounds. And they will be out of Masters, losing their spot here in the international event and of their region, leaving it just down to North America, Korea, and Europe. Or EMEA. Oh, that Hunter's Fury. Beautiful stuff from Sacy. Good tags coming through. But look at soulcas. He's taking the... Oh, no! That's not a shot you want to be missing.
No, not in this round. Not in this one. This is crunch time for Vikings. Still looking to put the pressure in. The Nebula formed to try and deny them the space. There's only 30 seconds left. Sutecas, he's normally been superb in these sort of scenarios, but he's actually going to get forced off the angle. He does have a little bit of support, but in fact, the peak comes back out. It's traded by GTN, but they need to clear some of these players before they can go for the plant. Sacy might be able to sneak around this as well, and a chance to double up for Sacy. But again, the trades come back thick and fast, and Jamppi from behind. He's going to leave 10 seconds on the clock for the spike to go down, and Kryptix will shut things out. 12-5, map and series point, and Vikings' last chance.
Last chance to hold on to this, Tom. I mean, if you're Vikings right now, you're pulling out a new comp. It's not even the downfall. And I love the fact, small point, we got Yoru here. We mentioned, you know, it didn't quite go according to plan on the other map, and yet here he's having a better performance. I think people will be a lot less critical of Yoru on Haven than they were on Ascent, but it's also being played in a very different manner. That's one of the most important things when kind of judging this. But at 12-5, yeah, Vikings' time to show up is here and now, which is why they're force buying into this. A Sheriff alongside a Spectre, and FRZ still going for the peak. He previously failed it with the Operator, and now Sheriff ain't doing too much for him.
Unfortunately, popped his Blade Storm in the last round, so doesn't even have that to comfort him for this round. And they are doing quite a good job of holding things. The initial slow that came out has held them back. The gravity well, and more importantly, Saadhak's getting a lot of ground, so they should know that he's actually still here. Got himself a Guardian. It's not the gun I would want to have on a flank. Normally only good for 1 kill, unless you've got some magical powers. But they're still looking to just pressure here and actually denying the Nano Swarm.
They're in a lot of trouble right now. Liquid are about to use their Nano Swarm, and probably, not for a fake actually, they're going to commit to it. You've already used your Hunter's Fury, so you don't have that for this round. There's no way you can really counter this other than getting in there, and instead, they're going to get out of there, pulling back and moving out of the site. There's the flank coming through for 1 kill. It's Kryptix that falls. That's a big
he's
blow.
stuck.
The Team Liquid's post plan setup, but they're still able to win these duels. Scream gets a flash pop for him and swings into Sacy, but Sacy full blind, still gonna kill, keeping a small thread of hope for Vikings to hold on to. Jamppi out towards short. They try to bait a peek in, but they need to go for this plant now. It has to be stuck, and Scream is going to get safe to make that happen. The spams are off by an inch, and that is a sad situation for Vikings as Scream closes it with a beautiful 4K, 13-5. Vikings will be going out of Masters as Team Liquid move on in the bracket. What a great showing from them. 2-0, taking down what is widely considered to be the strongest team in Brazil right now.